The Escalade nameplate is synonymous with premium luxury and sophistication. Over the past 25 years, I guess you could say that this is the pinnacle of American luxury. But for 2025, things are getting even more interesting. Introducing the all-new 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ. This is a full EV product from the brand and a first in its segment. They are beating their closest competitors to the full-size SUV EV market. In today's video, we're going to check out what the Escalade IQ has to offer. We're going to check out the exterior, check out the all-new technology for the interior, and see why, if you're looking at buying a premium luxury SUV at around $150,000 or just a bit above that for this model, maybe going with the Escalade IQ might be a great decision. Now, before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Cadillac of Norwood in Norwood, Massachusetts for letting me come down here to check out the new Cadillac Escalade IQ. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Cadillac inventory. So as always, let's begin with pricing. For 2025 with the Cadillac Escalade Sport 2, you're looking at a starting cost of right around $150,000, which this is in a league of its own. There's not many SUVs in this market at this price point that's full EV. Now, you are going to see some products coming from Jeep with the Wagoneer, but we're still a few months off from that. So right now, the Escalade is all you got if you do have some deep pockets and you're ready to go in the full EV direction. Now, at $150,000, you expect to receive all the bells and whistles, and you are going to get that here with this model. And it all starts with the exterior appearance, because with Cadillac, they have gone one step further over the past 5 years or so, including their gas-powered models as well, where they finally have understood that buyers are looking for a classy, sophisticated, and modern experience for their vehicles. And with the EV products, they're going one step further. So starting up front, you are going to receive full LED headlights with an animated design here when you approach your vehicle, even during the daytime. And that is something that Cadillac has done very well. We saw that with the Lyriq, and we saw that with the Cadillac Escalade a few years ago. And it's a nice classy touch, I have to say. Now, also another thing too with this model, and with it being a sport, you are going to notice some gloss black trim here, giving you a two-toned look. And that works really well for an SUV that commands a price point over $150,000. Now, you're going to notice with that grille design, very similar to what you're going to find with the Lyriq. And then also for the lower portion of the front bumper, gloss black trim once again makes it have a nice sporty and lower profile appearance. Then as you make your way over to the side profile, you are going to have 24-inch alloy wheels. Now, 24-inch wheels for a vehicle of this size makes it look very upscale and unique, but also with that tire size, a lot of you are going to be saying, but wait a minute, isn't there going to be a lot of road noise? And actually, because this vehicle is an EV, you also have all that interior insulation. Ride quality isn't going to be too bad. Now, imagining the two-tone look here, we have some gloss black trim along the lower portion of the side profile. Also, of course, you're going to notice your side steps here, so you can easily access this Cadillac Escalade IQ. Also, you will notice the gloss black side mirror caps, which are heated, power folding, and obvious you are going to have some turn signal indicators, and better yet, blind spot detection for added safety. Also, another thing too, you have that gloss black trim outlining the top portion of this vehicle. Really, really nice touch. Then as you make your way around to the back, obviously you're going to have LED taillights, which again also have their own interactive display late at night or even during the day when you are approaching your IQ. Now, one thing I do notice here compared to the full gas-powered models is that you are going to have somewhat of a sportback rear fascia, which is really nice, I have to say. It does take some elements from that Lyriq and other EVs in the lineup, and at least gives it a unique appearance, even though from far away, it still has that traditional Escalade appearance. Finally, for the lower portion of the rear bumper, once again, you are going to have that gloss black trim there, giving this vehicle a symmetrical appearance on the roadways. Now, before we get into the performance for the Escalade IQ, let's talk about what's under the hood. Well, it's not going to be a V8. However, you do have a power trunk. That is right. And this will reveal about 12 cubic feet of room, so you could probably store a couple bags in here. I could probably keep about 2 camera bags in this cargo compartment. Not too bad at all. But then keep in mind, though, this is an Escalade, so you're going to have plenty of practicality, and we're going to talk about that later on in this video. But that's pretty cool, too. So you have a power trunk and a power liftgate. Doesn't get any better than that. So powering the Escalade IQ is a dual motor setup, giving you 615 horsepower and 680 pound-feet of torque. Obviously, all-wheel drive does come standard, but it does get better than that because in Velocity Max mode, you're looking at 750 horsepower and 785 pound-feet of torque, and that will give you the propulsion that you love to see in EV products. Now, for those of you who don't care about performance, you're going to say, just tell me what the range is. So with the Cadillac Escalade IQ, you're looking at 460 miles of range. To put that into perspective, you can easily go to Boston to New York on a full charge. So if range anxiety is a bit of an issue, now I think at $150,000, you probably don't need to worry about that. This is going to give you the range that you're looking for, the practicality, the versatility. So if you're someone who's looking to make that switch, I think the Escalade IQ is going to be that nice upgrade over your full gas-powered Escalade. Now, one thing I do want to point out here too, and I did talk about this very briefly with the 24-inch wheels, is that you are going to have air ride adaptive suspension and also magnetic ride control. And that is going to give this SUV not necessarily a sports crossover experience, but you're not going to notice the body roll as much. This is going to have a nice planted feel to the roadways. So if you're looking for a vehicle that has it all, you want that range, you want that EV propulsion, and you also want an SUV that is going to give you the ride quality and performance that you're looking for, that's where I think you're going to like the IQ over a full gas-powered model. Hopping inside the Cadillac Escalade IQ, this is where it's at. Because not only do you have a lot of technology, creature comforts, and amenities, but it's also very premium. Now, I know some of you are going to be saying, oh, here we go, he has bought into the EV hype. But actually, this interior layout that you see in front of you right now is the exact same layout that's found in the full gas-powered model. So it doesn't matter whether you go ICE or EV for your next Escalade, this is going to be a premium luxury experience that, quite frankly, we don't currently see right now, at least for the EV market. And really, we don't see for the Escalade market in general, where you're going to have this massive 55-inch screen that also includes an infotainment system on the passenger side. And you get another screen on the center console that controls your climate control settings and other functions that we'll get into in a minute. But let's first start off with the seats. So up front, for the Sport 2, you are going to receive 16-way power adjustable, heated, ventilated, and massaging leatherette seats for both the driver and passenger. Now you're probably saying, wait a minute, stop right there, because you're saying we don't get genuine leather? That is correct. Now, a lot of manufacturers are moving away from genuine leather, probably because of the environmental friendly aspect to it all. But I will say, though, that for a synthetic leather, it's actually rather comfortable, and it does feel rather premium as well. The one thing that does stand out to me, though, with this being an Escalade, is that the bolstering is somewhat aggressive, which will keep you in place when you are on those winding back roads. And also, of course, with this being an EV and having that lower center of gravity, it will be somewhat sporty. So you're going to want to have that ability where you are going to be snug and sitting nice and tight being behind the wheel of this model. So it does complement the driving experience for the Escalade IQ. But one thing I do want to point out here, though, with the driver seat functionality is that all your controls will be found on the door panel. Now, why is that important? Well, first off, we don't typically see that in the Cadillac product line, but we are going to start seeing that in the future, more specifically with the Optic. Now, from here, you can adjust your heated and ventilated seats and also your massaging seat functionality. So really cool stuff here. Kind of reminds you what you have with Mercedes-Benz products. Then in front of you are going to have a leather-wrapped steering wheel, which is heated, by the way. Feels really nice in the hands. Now, you're not going to have paddle shifters, obviously, with this being an EV, but there will be a paddle that will control your regen braking. Now, in front of you will be that full digital gauge cluster here, which, again, like, this is stuff that you don't typically find in this market, or really never really found in the Cadillac product line. Cadillac has always fallen behind in regards to technology. I think now what we're seeing from American manufacturers is something that quite different than when we were, say, 10 or even 20 years ago, where I think Cadillac is starting to set the tone for what we need to experience in the premium luxury SUV market. So by using the toggles on the right side of the steering wheel, you can scroll through a variety of information and customize what you see from this screen. So you can go with a traditional gauge layout, or you can go with a Google Map layout here where you can display your Google Map so you don't have to look over to the infotainment system. You can also go with your driver assistance layout, and better yet, we have night vision. That is right. Now, this isn't new. We did see this with the Cadillac Escalade a couple of years ago, and it would be a cool feature to have when you are out on some late night drives or you're just in some dimly lit areas. This will give you that visibility that you are looking for. Now, I will say though, this isn't going to be the most intuitive layout necessarily, because it's not going to be as in-depth what you're going to find with, say, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, or BMW products, but that's perfectly fine, especially with this vehicle being a luxury SUV, and also for a traditional type of buyer that might not be looking for all that tech at their fingertips and at their disposal. Then taking a look at the infotainment system, you are going to have some Google built-in software here with Google Assistant, Google Play Store, Amazon Alexa, and then also, of course, your Google Maps here. Obviously, you are going to have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility, and pairing up with that, you have two, not one, but two wireless phone chargers here. I mean, that's pretty cool stuff. Now, we have gone over this infotainment system quite a bit before with other Cadillac products, because it does share the same technology that is found in the Lyriq and also the gas-powered models for the Cadillac lineup. I'm not going to go too in-depth here, but one thing I do like, though, is that Cadillac did maintain and retain the dual functionality with the rotary dial and also quick access icons on the center console. I absolutely love to see that. So that way you're not reaching for that screen. But if you want to reach for the screen, though, at the bottom will be quick access icons to get you your home screen, also your radio, your Google Maps, your Bluetooth, and you can also access your charging features and functionalities from here as well. So that way you can control everything from this screen. Even better, from this screen, you can also adjust the one-pedal drive mode. So everything is all within arm's reach for the driver and also the front passenger as well. Now, continuing on to the screen that you find on the center console, this is where it's going to take a few minutes to get used to everything, because you can control quite a bit here. Not only the climate control, but also access your camera systems, vehicle settings, and even you can open and close the doors from this screen with a swipe of a button. So you don't even need to manually open and close these doors, which is just amazing. Now, also from here, you can open the door that allows you to access your charger. So let's just open the driver's side door for a minute. Opens nice and wide. Let's close that because it's getting kind of cold in here. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. I will say, though, that by going through this screen, it will take probably 15 to 20 minutes to go through everything, and I'm not going to bore you here going through all the functions. If you want to see that, definitely leave that in the comment section below, and I'll come back to Cadillac of Norwood, and we can go in depth on the technology. But this really is a huge step forward for Cadillac and GM in general, because as I said before, Cadillac has traditionally fallen behind the German rivals in this segment in regards to technology. I don't think you can say that right now for 2025. Then for the center storage compartment, there is plenty of room in here for some smaller items, maybe a couple small water bottles or two. Obviously, smartphones, wallets, and other tech gadgets. And you're also going to find a couple of USB-C outlets here. Beneath the main bridge for the center console, you will have another storage compartment for maybe a bag or two. We're seeing a lot of that in the EV product line. And then finally, to wrap up the front seating area, above will be a panoramic fixed glass roof, which brings in a lot of natural light to the interior and makes the interior seem a lot bigger than it is in reality. Now, moving on to the second row, it's a mere formality to talk about the interior space here, because you are definitely fitting taller passengers in the second row with these captain chairs. They're going to be very comfortable, plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom. No one's going to be hitting their head on the headliner, which actually has a nice suede feel to it, so you're going to be very comfortable in this vehicle. But it goes one step further for the Escalade IQ, because there is one optional package that we don't have equipped on our model, and that is the executive second row seating package, giving you 14-way power adjustable second row seats with 4-way power bolstering and also power second row massage. This comes in at a very hefty price tag of $7,500, which would get this vehicle closer to $160,000. Is that necessary to go with this package? I don't think so, mostly because if you're the driver of this vehicle, you don't care about the second or third row. I mean, they're going to be comfortable regardless with the captain's chairs and also the fact they have their own climate control and these seats are heated. So passengers are going to have a lot of amenities to work with. On top of that, they have their own screen. So from this screen, they can adjust the climate control, they can adjust their heated seats. But it does go one step further because they can adjust the airflow for the third row, which I think is pretty nice of them. You know, most people in the back are going to be left behind there, no one cares, but at least they can adjust the airflow for that third row. It's also from the screen like we saw up front where you can open and close the second row doors. And with a swipe of a button, it opens nice and wide. So you no longer need Alfred or Jeeves to usher you outside this vehicle. So they're going to be out of a job in 2025. Really cool stuff here. I might have just bought into one of the gimmicks that Cadillac is giving us now, but this is actually pretty nice for a premium luxury SUV. And then briefly taking a look at the third row seating area. You know, obviously this isn't going to be ideal. You're going to want to sit up front, but in a pinch, if you had to sit back here, it's not the worst. I mean, there's far worse Euro SUVs out there where you are going to feel cramped or claustrophobic. Now, this seat is adjusted most of the way back, so obviously I'm not going to have plenty of legroom here. But I will say, though, that headroom is more than abundant. Also, we have some air vents up top, so you are going to feel nice and cool or warm throughout the year. And on top of that, on both sides of the third row, you are going to have USB-C outlets and a cup holder, which is pretty nice, but no screen back here for third row passengers. Making our way around to the back one more time, take a look at the rear cargo area. With the Escalade IQ, you are going to receive a power liftgate. And inside, you're looking at right around 24 cubic feet of room, which for a lot of three-row SUVs in this market, you want to have at least 18 cubic feet because that gives you a lot more versatility and practicality. But to have this with the Escalade at 24 cubic feet, this is more than enough to have your luggage back here if you are going to the airport or going on a road trip. As you can tell, I have all my camera gear back here. So that's 3 bags of camera gear, a gimbal box, and a tripod. And there's still a lot more room to stack on more items as well. So with this being a three-row SUV and a family hauler, you're probably thinking, can I go on that grocery run? I think you can definitely do that. Now, on the left side of the rear cargo area, you will have some buttons here that will conveniently lower and raise the third row seats. So with the press of a button, those third row seats do fold flat. And I will display the cargo dimensions when those third row seats are folded and also when the second row seats are folded, because in total, you're going to have close to 120 cubic feet of room, which is more than enough. I mean, you could probably move a small apartment and have a lot of furniture back here. So this gives you a lot of versatility and practicality in many ways. Now, also you can lower the second row seats as well. You can have them fold. And as you can tell, well, one of them did fold all the way here, but you're still going to have that ability to do everything on the fly and not have to manually lower those seats. And it's not going to take too much effort at all. So this is really cool to see here with the Escalade IQ. The pinnacle of American luxury. That's what I'm calling the Cadillac Escalade IQ. Really, though, there is no competitor for the Escalade, at least in the electric market. I think you could probably say the same for the gas-powered market as well, where the Escalade is the way to go if you want a large SUV with all the creature comforts and amenities. Typically, I'm not someone who is willing to give up a V8 engine. However, in EV form, and what Cadillac has done to the chassis, the suspension, this platform, is exactly what you want to see under $200,000. Now, I'm going to say this, the driving experience is rather uncanny because it's too smooth, it's too quiet, and if you have driven an Escalade before, it drives very much like a pickup truck. It feels like an upscale Chevrolet Silverado, but with a third row. This is something completely different and something that I need to get used to within the first 5 minutes of driving this SUV around. So let's get on the highway here. Just going to be in normal mode for this acceleration and see what it's like. Incredible. Incredible. It's so smooth and linear. And on top of that, it's so quiet too. But the way in which this vehicle rides, going over the bumps and imperfections, the ride quality, This is what you would expect out of an SUV over $150,000. And I haven't even talked about what it's like being behind the wheel with all this technology. Cadillac has really proven here that, one, you can have attainable and fun EVs with the Lyriq and the Optic. But also on the higher end, you can have a premium luxury SUV that not even the Germans could rival. And that's what makes the Escalade so special, not only in the ICE market, but also for EVs. Now, one thing I will say, though, is that it does have a lot of characteristics from the gas-powered model it's based on. So the steering isn't going to be weighted. It's a bit light. But I will say that the four-wheel steering is incredible, because usually when you walk into a vehicle like this, due to the width, the length, the overall size, it's not a very easy SUV to drive if you're coming from, say, an XT5. But with the four-wheel steering, it drives very small for the vehicle that's over 200 inches in length. And that is something that makes this SUV rather versatile if you're going to be driving in the city, whether it's for livery services or for personal use. Its cornering and maneuverability is something that is quite jarring for a vehicle in this market, and because of that, it feels somewhat sporty. It's not going to be dynamic, let's not go overboard here, but it does feel somewhat sporty and agile. Now also, of course, you have the weight of the electric motors and battery that gives you somewhat of a lower center of gravity, because if you have driven a gas-powered Escalade, you know that when you are on throttle, the front end lifts up. You don't have that with the Escalade IQ. Now obviously, for a vehicle at this price point, you're not going to be hearing a lot of the outside world. In fact, the interior insulation, probably one of the best I've experienced in this market, or really just for any market for that matter. Ride quality, though, with the 24-inch wheels, yes, you do feel the bumps and imperfections, and that does create somewhat of an audible experience with the road noise. But for 24s, I mean, you would expect a far more egregious driving experience, and that's not what you're going to be experiencing here with the IQ. Better yet, there's no floaty sensation, which some SUVs, some larger cars are going to exhibit. In fact, when you do have some of those dips in the road, it still feels somewhat planted. Now, let's just put it in sport mode for the heck of it, and VMAX power. So this will unleash the beast within. And now, you get that kickback and that instant torque. Incredible. Now, in sport mode, the steering does tighten up a bit. And there's a bit more firmness to the handling as well. And obviously, throttle response becomes far more active. On the brakes, nice and strong. I'm not using regen braking here. That provides a lot of confidence. Now, while I'm at this red light, let's talk about this interior. I mean, the 55-inch screen, the infotainment system, the Google-based software, so easy to use, and you also have the screen on the center console. I mean, this is what you desire out of a luxury vehicle. And I think, in a very weird way, and we wouldn't have said this 10 years ago, I think the Americans are finally starting to get it. It's starting to click now as to what buyers are looking for. We're not only seeing it with Cadillac, but now Lincoln's getting in on the action with these large infotainment systems. And this is what's going to define this market moving forward. We have no idea what the EV segment is going to be like next year or 2 years down the road. Obviously, there's a lot of changes coming that we don't really know what that's all going to play out. However, in the current day, where I am right now in the beginning of January, this is fantastic. Now, also another thing, too, is that a lot of this does carry over to the gas-powered model. So we can also say that with the Cadillac Escalade, it's setting the bar one step higher for both the ICE and EV markets. There's a few things that are weird here with the IQ. For one, it doesn't have the propulsion of a Tesla. But when you get up to like 80, 85, you don't feel the speed, which is extremely odd for a vehicle of this size and weight. It's way too easy to get up to speed in this IQ. Now, at highway speeds, at around 65 miles an hour, not a lot of road noise at all. It's actually rather quiet and docile here. I did put it back in tour mode, but unbelievable. Unbelievable. In the corners, there's like no weight at all here. You know, like you would feel that an SUV like the Escalade would have like some top heaviness, there'd be some body roll. Like there's none of that. There's none of that out of this SUV. It's odd. It's really odd. And I don't think that's a bad thing either. You know, I mean, you're looking at a vehicle that you're getting a premium buyer. This is a premium market. And typically for someone who is buying something like this, you know, you're not trying to get a CT5V Blackwing experience. You're going all out for luxury. And with the EV powertrain, the electric motors, the battery, this allows brands like Cadillac to go one step above and beyond. Where, you know, a V8 powered Escalade is going to speak to an enthusiast. But for someone who, you know, comes from a premium market, might not want that. And by giving you a vehicle that has a linear power band, that's so quiet, soft, and the way the suspension is tuned, this is something you're not going to find out of the gas-powered Escalade. And now it just comes down to, you know, what do you really want out of your next daily driver, out of your next family hauler? And at $150,000 for a top trim Escalade IQ or somewhere around there, you know, that's not all that expensive compared to a full gas-powered Escalade. So if you're someone in this market, you know, you're ready to make that leap, you're ready to go in the full EV direction, and you had the money to spend at around $200,000, this might be the way to go. I mean, again, 460 miles of range, it's tough to beat that. It is tough to beat that. And, you know, how often are you going to drive 460 miles in one sitting? So I think as a commuter vehicle, as a family hauler, maybe even, you know, as a livery vehicle, you know, as a limo, this works. It does work. And on top of that, you have the technology that is going to entertain people as well, right? The fact that you can automatically open and close all four doors. You have the 5-zone climate control on higher trims. You have the passenger side infotainment system. I mean, you know, this is stuff that Cadillac and a lot of American manufacturers have been missing for a long time, and we finally have it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review for the 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.